Welcome to the WORKOLOGY podcast, a podcast for the disruptive workplace leader. Join host Jessica Miller-Merrill, founder of WORKOLOGY.com, as she sits down and gets to the bottom of trends, tools, and case studies for the business leader, HR, and recruiting professional who is tired of the status quo. Now here's Jessica with this episode of WORKOLOGY.
Welcome to the WORKOLOGY podcast. Technology is changing at the speed of light. In our roles as workplace leaders, we are moving fast towards consumer-like products and technologies that are being adapted and adopted in our workplace. And these technologies aren't stopping. They're going forward. And today's guest will get us up to speed on what we can expect. Robert Scoble is one of the leading technologists and is always on the bleeding edge when it comes to technology like wearables, the Internet of Things, and virtual reality. He's the author of multiple books. His newest is called The Fourth Transformation: How Augmented Reality and Artificial Intelligence Changes Everything. Robert, welcome to the WORKOLOGY podcast.
Thanks for having me on.
So you were telling me that you've done a lot of podcasts today. Tell us a little bit about some of the topics you're talking about today.
Well, we're doing a wrap up of the Consumer Electronics Show on the two shows I'm involved in, and we're taking a look at the new 360 degree cameras that are coming along. I'm holding one in my hand. It's a small little thing that's smaller than a golf ball, and plugs into your phone and lets you stream 360 degree video to Periscope on Twitter or soon Facebook Live, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Very cool. Well, let's go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background in case someone isn't familiar with you and your work.
Yeah, I've been a tech journalist since the 90s. I have a famous blog that I started up in 2000, and then recently I've been switching most of my efforts over to social media, Facebook and Twitter, for instance, and doing lots of interviews around the world with innovators, and going to R&D labs and seeing where the future's going. And that kind of work led directly into understanding this new pattern of augmented reality, which is coming this year pretty quickly. The next iPhone is going to be an augmented reality iPhone, and Apple's readying a variety of other products. That's why Tim Cook has been like, "Oh, VR is cool, but AR is way more cool, and way bigger for Apple." So this is going to be a remarkable year with a lot of new technologies, and that led me to write a book with Shel Israel called The Fourth Transformation, because this is the fourth user interface of the personal computer age that's coming, and that's going to change a lot of businesses and do it pretty quickly, actually. I think in the next 2 years, you're going to see a lot of businesses invest in augmented reality if they aren't already. Sephora, for instance, already is, and so are many companies.
So for someone who's not maybe familiar with what augmented reality is, can you walk us through the basics?
Yeah, augmented reality puts virtual things on top of the real world and changes them. So you can, with the glasses that are coming, in fact, Microsoft HoloLens is a good example of this. HoloLens, if you wear it, I have a game that called Fragments that puts a murder right into the room you're in, and the game puts information on all your walls. And in fact, there's little artificial rats running around the floor and other effects. And it's on top of the real world. You are looking at the real world through the glasses, and you're seeing all this virtual stuff on top of the real world. It's really, really amazing to use these. It's just the consumers haven't seen them yet because they're not cheap enough. They're too nerdy to use, and they're too big and dorky to wear. But all of those problems are going to get fixed this year, at least in big steps. And that's when you're going to see the consumers start to show up.
I feel like augmented reality and the way you're describing it has a lot of use cases, maybe in training and development or in the interview and hiring process. Give us some thoughts on that.
Absolutely. Caterpillar is using augmented reality to teach people how to fix $1 million tractor. At Boeing, they have dozens of HoloLenses already, and they're using them for a variety of tasks, from making battlefield simulations to teaching people how to fix jet engines, right? This is the best education technology humans have ever invented, and you're going to see deep impacts in corporations on training and giving a new kind of training, a just-in-time training, where, like Caterpillar, they train you while you're doing the job. So you don't have to go to class for a week to learn how to fix a tractor. You just wear the glasses, and it teaches you how to fix the tractor while you're having to learn to fix the tractor. So it's going to democratize learning in a way that just can't be done in the classroom or on standard old video techniques.
What are you seeing as the biggest disruption coming forth with your book, The Fourth Transformation?
Well, it's interesting because the tech industry is about to ship more new technologies than I believe it's ever shipped. And you're seeing self-driving cars come along. You're seeing robots come along. You're seeing drones that can navigate themselves coming along. And you're seeing these new mixed reality or augmented reality. Mixed reality is a new term for the next generation augmented reality, which blends user interfaces into the real world, right? So Qualcomm took me down in their basement and showed me how this would work. You can wear a pair of glasses and walk around the pipes and the pumps that run the factory that they're using, and it shows you the data from those sensors and those pumps right on top of the pipes. So you can walk down the pipe and see where the problem is, right? And this is already happening. Daiquiri is a company that's doing this kind of technology for people who are working on oil rigs or other large manufacturing installations, and it's coming along quite well. The thing that's going to disrupt us this year is it's coming to consumers, and so it's not just for a $1 million project at Boeing, but it's going to come to shopping malls and sporting arenas and navigation in cars and all sorts of new entertainment capabilities that are very, very mind-blowing. When you wear one of these glasses, you're just going to have your mind blown by what it can do now.
And that's why I wanted to have you on the podcast, because what happens to consumer industry is really the HR and the workplace technology side really follows suit. So,
yeah, we're about to get a new way of working together, because let's say everybody in your company is wearing these mixed reality glasses. You're going to be able to virtually pull into a space and manipulate objects in that space that are virtual. For instance, Ford is using VR to design cars right now. So you can wear glasses like this to design cars and look at your coworkers' designs and walk around the actual virtual car. In my office, we actually have an 18-wheel truck in the middle of the office if you wear the right HoloLens. And you can walk around that truck and you can see the wind simulation data that's going over the truck. And you can click on a headlamp and change it to a different model of headlamp, and you can see what the gas savings might be on the truck if you did that, and you'll see how much it costs to get that new headlamp. So it's a remarkable technology that has deep implications across human life, right?
Awesome. Well, let's take a bit of a reset here. This is Jessica Miller Merrill, and you're listening to the Workology podcast. We're talking about the fourth transformation and how technology like virtual reality, the Internet of Things, augmented reality, wearables are going to be changing the workplace. And I'm here with Robert Scoble. He's the co-author of a new book called The Fourth Transformation. And you can follow him on all the social medias. And one of my favorites to follow him on is Twitter. And his Twitter is Scobleizer.
Yeah, actually, I put a lot more work into Facebook because Facebook has much better audiences for live streaming of video, which is what I usually do when I'm sitting down with a CEO of a new company. I'll live stream that to Facebook. And Twitter is fun and Periscope's cool, but it has a far smaller audience than Facebook does. So I put most of my time over on Facebook. But you can find me both places, but you'll notice that much more of my day is spent over on Facebook.
I think sometimes folks have a hard time using Facebook for business and personal reasons, and so the overlap is a little bit hard.
Get over it. I got $1 million deal on Facebook. Business is happening there. If you want to follow somebody, for business reasons, you can do that. You can come just to my profile and see everything I do. You don't have to see your stepmom or anything like that.
Good.
So,
It's
yeah, all my work is public, so you can visit my profile and see everything I do.
it's good to have conversations like this because and to support some of the things that I'm saying, but still a lot of HR and recruiting leaders, and they might be listening right now, have separate Facebook profiles for personal and professional.
I get that. I don't, and I have seen the benefits of that. The world is changing, and it's there's 1.7 billion people on Facebook. There's 300 million people on Twitter. Do the math. Do you want to reach a bigger audience or a smaller audience? And I choose to reach the bigger audience.
Gotcha. Let's talk a little bit about robots and technology replacing employees. That's a common topic of conversation at conferences and events for us. And we've already started to think about that, especially with Amazon's recent launch of their Amazon Go store in Seattle. Do you think jobs are being eliminated, and how so?
Oh, this is a huge conversation in the tech industry. We know, I just saw a Cruise self-driving car go by my window. And self-driving cars, we all know that, 7 to 15 years from now, they're really going to start taking away jobs from people. The number one career in America is truck driving. It's 1.3 million people have that as their career. And truck driving is going to be decimated over the next few decades by self-driving technologies. So we need to retrain people who don't have very many skills other than driving something and get them into a job that has some relevancy to the future. And I think mixed reality is going to be it, because we can train people in real time to do new things. And it doesn't need to be expensive things like, fixing $1 million tractor. But I could see a world where we're going to teach surgeons, we're going to teach janitors to do new tasks, we're going to teach all sorts of people on machines. Like if you're working at a Starbucks, why do you have to go to class for 3 days to learn how to make a latte? Why isn't it that you get a pair of these glasses on the first day, and it shows you how to work the machine right on top of the machine? And that kind of education is going to really bring a lot of people into the modern economy and solve this jobless problem that we're really going to have a jobless problem because of automation. And it's I tell my kids, your job is to go to school to learn faster, because you have to automate the forces of automation with your careers. And you have to learn new things all the time to stay ahead of the automation forces. And mixed reality is going to be huge in this area, but it'll take a couple of years for people to get the first glasses so they start understanding what I'm talking about. Because if you haven't had your face in a HoloLens, you have no idea how useful it is for this new kind of education. And they're coming. We're going to get these glasses this year at first attempt, and certainly by 2020 we're going to get a whole range of glasses with all sorts of different capabilities, and then we're off to the races.
How do you think this changes in basic communication? So you can learn everything from your glasses and don't have to leave the house.
Yeah, although you're still going to want to work with people on something, right? So if you're working at Ford on a new car, yeah, you can do a lot of that work at home, but there's something about going and meeting with a customer and showing them your new car design and watching their experience with it and seeing where they have problems interacting with a new car design, or that they don't like the design on the headlamps, for instance, and you're going to have to redo that. And you're going to want to be with people. There's something that's higher bandwidth about being with people. Now, VR gets you a whole way closer to that ideal of working face-to-face with somebody. And we're seeing this. We can play basketball with people over the internet now in virtual reality. And you're going to get that in the mixed reality glasses. So think about a new kind of office where you have as many screens around as you need, and you can touch surfaces and put things on walls, and you can manipulate the world all virtually. This is going to change work. It's just I don't believe it gets rid of offices completely, because you're still going to want to go in and touch people and touch the physical things you're making, right?
What about artificial intelligence? It's a popular word in human resources and recruiting. There's all these AI chatbots and functionality to career sites.
Yep.
Where do you see where we're going in the next 12 to 24 months?
The bleeding edge of these glasses is very dependent on artificial intelligence to know what the sensors are looking at. If you, I saw a company called Yowza that came out of Israel, and it uses a 3D sensor that's going to be on the front of these glasses or on the front of your phone soon. And it can see the world in 3D, and then it separates everything into separate objects. So there's a laptop sitting on top of this desk, and then it starts using artificial intelligence to name everything. So this is a desk, that's a Macintosh MacBook Pro, that's a microphone in front of me, blah, blah, blah. And then it starts doing AI lookups to cloud services to try to pull down images and other things to put on top of those things. And so AI is going to be huge in this world. And in fact, the place these glasses is coming out of the same teams that built self-driving cars, because they see the world the same way. If you see a child crossing the street, the car needs to know that's a child and needs to figure out what the likely next action of that child is, right? Because is that child going to continue running into the street? Does the car need to slow down and stop? The system needs to know that. And so we're building very advanced software and very advanced learning systems to teach the software about objects or about things or about people that it's encountering. And this is going to lead to radical new experiences when you're wearing these glasses.
I love when you're talking about the glasses and the safety, because I feel like if I'm in a manufacturing plant, I'm a general manager, I can put the glasses on and I am able to see if there's any safety problems or potential incidents that might occur where people could be hurt or items could be damaged, which is kind of cool.
And in fact, it can watch you work, right? And warn you when you're doing something dangerous. If you put your hand close to a saw blade, for instance, it can actually see that you're doing that before you even sense that you're doing something wrong. And it can warn you. It can say, hey, you're about to kill yourself. Don't do that. And it can even have haptics that get your attention, and sounds that get your attention, and visuals that get your attention, saying, hey, your hand is going toward the saw blade. You're in danger zone right now. And a wide variety of things can be watched that way. At J-Bill, I visited an augmented workstation where there's sensors watching the people work and make sure that they're doing their work properly, that if you put a component in a motherboard, that it's seated properly. It can see that because it can see such detail that the human eye can't see. And it can tell you that you got it right and give you a Pokemon point or something like that, right? So the world of work is about to really, really change due to these technologies. And you're seeing precursors of this if you are working at like a Boeing or a Ford or something like that with these immersive technologies.
I'll include a link, or maybe I'll embed in the podcast transcript over on Workology the video of the Tesla self-driving car avoiding a wreck, because I feel like that gives us a real sort of sense without having to put on these glasses, but to see how technology can really help save lives and help us be more productive and efficient.
Absolutely. That gives you a real good sense of that it's able to see things that a human might miss, because a human might be distracted or tired or, God forbid, drunk or inebriated in some way. And the self-driving technologies don't do that. They don't get tired, they don't get distracted, and they don't get drunk. So they're always going to work the same. And that stuff is coming into our offices as well to assist us in our work lives. And it's going to be an interesting couple of years to watch new companies come along to build new kinds of virtualized offices. Because when you're wearing these glasses, you can have 20 screens up around you. So you can see CNN by looking up at the ceiling. You can see your Twitter, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, all on screens. And you can see all your work. If you have Amazon servers, you can have three screens watching your servers. Or if you're working on CAD files with somebody, you can see all that. And then you can start manipulating those things in 3D space, and it's going to be quite crazy what's coming. I think unless you've had your hand in VR for a couple of hours and really gotten into some of the social VR that's happening, where you can play games with other people or work with other people, or we did our book reading in VR with 100 people, and we were able to interact with people and walk around just like you were walking around a physical space and talk with other people. So for training and for meetings, this is going to be used for a lot of things, and at good effect, and I think it's going to save corporations a lot of money doing this, because hey, if you have 1,000 employees, you want to take them all somewhere, you can do that by flying them all to Disneyland or flying them all to Vegas or something and having a meeting. But now you can pull up these glasses and have social VR spaces where you can have really interesting training, similar to like if you were sitting in a conference room, but everybody is standing around virtually. And you're going to see a lot of companies use that to great effect in the next few years.
I know you said you just got back from CES in Las Vegas, the Consumer Electronics Show. What were some of the coolest things that you saw there?
It wasn't a show this year that I saw mind-blowing products, but I did see a lot of new technologies. I saw optics that are coming in very small glasses this year. I saw inside-out VR trackers so that you could move around and do this kind of work without having to put weird boxes on the walls that would track you or whatnot. And, and then you see all the usual self-driving cars and all the iteration that happens. TV's got a little thinner this year. They got a little more colorful. They got a little bigger, and they got cheaper, right? That's really what the tech industry is great at, is iterating on products after they've been introduced. And I saw a lot of that. I got some new headphones, even that have 6 little microphones in them, and they do noise canceling at a much better rate than even the Bose headphones. So there's new products like that coming out that are really interesting, and it's always fun to go to CES to find those little things that are coming along. And then it's great to see the trends. How much better are the optics this year than last year? How much better are the sensors this year than last year? How much more capable are the GPUs this year than last year that are going to drive all this new virtual stuff? So it's a fun show.
Thanks for taking the time to talk with us today, Robert. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks. It's going to be quite a couple of years in the tech industry. We're going to bring out some mind-blowing new technologies, and it's certainly going to be fun. Certainly for your audience, it's going to be a lot of fun because there's going to be new capabilities and new ways to do HR and training for sure. And we're watching it very closely.
Where can people go to learn more about you? Facebook, Twitter, those are the places?
Facebook and Twitter are probably the best 2 right now. I'm on LinkedIn. I have my own blog, and I'm starting up other places. Again, I had a real famous blog for a decade, and I closed that down for a couple of years and mostly moved my attention over to Facebook. But now it's time to spread back out, because this is going to be a big year for me. This book really nailed this new space that's coming along, and so there's a lot of interest in it. And we're starting a consulting business to help businesses deal with this kind of change and think through ideas. And it's going to be a fun year.
2017. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for your time.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks to Robert, and thanks to you for joining the WORKOLOGY podcast, a place for disruptive work leaders to discuss trends, tools, and case studies for HR and recruiting professionals. This is Jessica Miller-Merrill, and until next time, you can visit the newly launched and rebranded WORKOLOGY.com website to listen to all our previous episodes, including this one, of the WORKOLOGY podcast.
Production services for the WORKOLOGY podcast with Jessica Miller-Merrill provided by TotalPicture.com.